Hello dear, how are you? I hope you're well. Let's say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day daily bread. Forgive us for trespasses. Forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Well, thank you, Jehovah, for another beautiful day on your beautiful earth. And thank you for everything you did in the past, present, and future. And thank you for allowing us to wake up today. So this is what I call Sunday coloring, when we color from a devotional book or any book that's related to it in some way. Or like when I colored from, I colored a girl, and I listened to Ruth and Esther, and another book, but because I was done with the other two, I wasn't done with the picture. I don't think I finished the picture either. But today we're gonna be listening to Song of Solomon's, because I just looked at it and picked it. This is from the coloring book, Be Still and Know I'm God. I got the dog here now. Oh, she just went right into my nose. Oh, there. I put her inside my shirt. It's just easier. Okay. So, there we go. And I got my coloring pencils. Alright, here's the thing. I found, I'm using the Jehovah Witness Bible, that it's it's a New World Translation, which my Bible app don't have that yet. I think eventually they will. No, I'm not a Jehovah Witness, but I'm using that type of Bible. But I did find the app for
Chapter 1. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's.
May he kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your expressions of affection are better than wine. The fragrance of your oils is pleasant. Your name is like a fragrant oil poured out. That is why the young women love you. Take me with you. Let us run. The king has brought me into his interior rooms. Let us be joyful and rejoice in you. Let us praise your expressions of affection more than wine. Rightly they love you. I am dark, but lovely, O daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar, like the tent cloths of Solomon. Do not stare at me because I am swarthy, because the sun has gazed upon me. The sons of my mother were angry with me. They appointed me the keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard I did not keep. Tell me, you whom I love so much, where you pasture your flock, where you have them lie down at midday. Why should I be like a woman wrapped in a veil among the flocks of your companions?
If you do not know, O most beautiful of women, go follow the tracks of the flock and pasture your young goats next to the tents of the shepherds.
I liken you, my beloved, to a mare among the chariots of Pharaoh. Your cheeks are lovely with ornaments, your neck with strings of beads. We will make for you gold ornaments, studded with silver.
While the king sits at his round table, my perfume gives off its fragrance. My dear one is to me like a fragrant bag of myrrh, spending the night between my breasts. My dear one is to me like a cluster of henna, among the vineyards of En-gedi.
Look, you are beautiful, my beloved. Look, you are beautiful. Your eyes are those of doves.
Look, you are beautiful, my dear one, and delightful. Our bed is among the foliage. The beams of our house are cedars. Our rafters are juniper trees.
I wish it automatically went to the next chapter. No.
Chapter 2.
I am but a saffron of the coastal plain, a lily of the valleys.
Like a lily among thorns is my beloved among the daughters.
Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest, so is my dear one among the sons. I passionately desire to sit in his shade, and his fruit is sweet to my taste. He brought me into the banquet house, and his banner over me was love. Refresh me with raisin cakes, sustain me with apples, for I am lovesick. His left hand is under my head, and his right hand embraces me. I put you under oath, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles and the does of the field. Do not try to awaken or arouse love in me until it feels inclined. The sound of my dear one. Look, here he comes, climbing the mountains, leaping over the hills. My dear one is like a gazelle, like a young stag. There he is, standing behind our wall, gazing through the windows, looking through the lattices. My dear one speaks. He says to me, "Rise up, my beloved, my beautiful one, come away with me. Look, the winter has passed, the rains are over and gone. Blossoms have appeared in the land, the time of pruning has arrived, and the song of the turtle dove is heard in our land. The fig tree ripens its early figs. The vines are in blossom and give off their fragrance. Rise up, my beloved, and come. My beautiful one, come away with me. Oh, my dove, in the retreats of the crag, in the recesses of the cliff, let me see you and hear your voice. For your voice is pleasant, and your appearance is lovely."
Catch the foxes for us, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, for our vineyards are in bloom.
My dear one is mine, and I am his. He is shepherding among the lilies. Until the day grows breezy and the shadows flee, return quickly, O my dear one, like the gazelle or the young stag upon the mountains of separation.
I wish it just went on. I wish it scrolled too.
Chapter 3.
Upon my bed during the nights, I sought the one I love. I sought him, but I did not find him. I will arise and roam the city. In the streets and in the public squares, let me seek the one I love. I sought him, but I did not find him. The watchmen making their rounds in the city found me. Have you seen the one I love? Scarcely had I passed by them when I found the one I love. I held on to him. I would not let him go until I brought him into my mother's house, into the interior room of her who conceived me. I put you under oath, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles and the does of the field. Do not try to awaken or arouse love in me until it feels inclined.
What is this coming up from the wilderness like columns of smoke, perfumed with myrrh and frankincense? with all the fragrant powders of a merchant.
Look, it is the couch belonging to Solomon. 60 mighty men surround it, of the mighty men of Israel, all of them armed with a sword, all trained in warfare, each with his sword at his side to guard against the terrors of the night.
It is the royal litter of King Solomon that he made for himself from the trees of Lebanon. Its pillars he made of silver, its supports of gold, its seat is of purple wool. Its interior was lovingly decorated by the daughters of Jerusalem.
Go out, O daughters of Zion. Gaze at King Solomon, wearing the wedding crown his mother made for him on the day of his marriage, on the day of his heart's rejoicing.
Well, we can print it out too.
Chapter 4. Look, you are beautiful, my beloved. Look, you are beautiful. Your eyes are those of doves behind your veil. Your hair is like a flock of goats streaming down the mountains of Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of newly shorn sheep that have come up from being washed, all of them bearing twins, and not one has lost her young. Your lips are like a scarlet thread, and your speech is delightful. Like a segment of pomegranate are your cheeks behind your veil. Your neck is like the Tower of David, built with courses of stone upon which are hung 1,000 shields, all the circular shields of the mighty men. Your 2 breasts are like 2 fawns, the twins of a gazelle that feed among the lilies.
Until the day grows breezy and the shadows flee, I will go my way to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of frankincense.
You are altogether beautiful, my beloved. There is no blemish in you. Come with me from Lebanon, my bride. Come with me from Lebanon. Descend from the peak of Amana, from the peak of Senir, the peak of Hermon, from the lairs of lions, from the mountains of leopards. You have captured my heart, my sister, my bride. You have captured my heart with one glance of your eyes, with one pendant of your necklace. How beautiful your expressions of affection are, my sister, my bride. Your expressions of affection are far better than wine, and the fragrance of your perfume than any spice. Your lips, my bride, drip with comb honey. Honey and milk are under your tongue, and the fragrance of your garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon. My sister, my bride, is like a locked garden, a spring sealed shut. Your shoots are a paradise of pomegranates, with the choicest fruits, with henna along with spikenard plants, spikenard and saffron, cane and cinnamon, with all sorts of trees of frankincense, myrrh, and aloes, along with all the finest perfumes. You are a garden spring, a well of fresh water, and flowing streams from Lebanon. Awake, O north wind! Come in, O south wind! Breathe upon my garden. Let its fragrance spread.
Let my dear one come into his garden and eat its choicest fruits.
Hey Carol, how are you? Just to remind you, Carol, this is not devotions, it's Sunday coloring where we listen to the Bible in color.
Chapter 5. I have entered my garden, O my sister, my bride. I have picked my myrrh and my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb and my honey. I have drunk my wine and my milk.
Eat, dear friends, drink, and become intoxicated with expressions of affection.
I am asleep, but my heart is awake. There is the sound of my dear one knocking. Open to me, O my sister, my beloved, my dove, my flawless one. For my head is wet with dew, the locks of my hair with the moisture of the night. I have taken off my robe. Must I put it back on? I have washed my feet. Must I soil them again? My dear one withdrew his hand from the bottom of the door, and my feelings for him were stirred. I got up to open to my dear one. My hands dripped with myrrh, and my fingers with liquid myrrh onto the handles of the lock. I opened to my dear one, but my dear one had turned away. He had gone. I felt despair when he departed. I sought him, but I did not find him. I called him, but he did not answer me. The watchmen making their rounds in the city found me. They struck me. They wounded me. The watchmen of the walls took my shawl away from me. I put you under oath, O daughters of Jerusalem. If you find my dear one, tell him that I am lovesick.
How is your dear one better than any other dear one, you most beautiful of women? How is your dear one better than any other dear one, that you put us under such an oath?
My dear one is dazzling and ruddy. He stands out among 10,000. His head is gold, the finest gold. The locks of his hair are like waving palm fronds, as black as the raven. His eyes are like doves by streams of water, bathing themselves in milk, sitting by a brimming pool. His cheeks are like a bed of spices, mounds of scented herbs. His lips are lilies, dripping with liquid myrrh. His hands are cylinders of gold, set with chrysolite. His abdomen is polished ivory, covered with sapphires. His legs are pillars of marble, set on pedestals of the finest gold. His appearance is like Lebanon, as unrivaled as the cedars. His mouth is sweetness itself, and everything about him is desirable. This is my dear one. This is my beloved, O daughters of Jerusalem.
Chapter 6.
Where has your dear one gone, O most beautiful of women? Which way did your dear one turn? Let us seek him with you.
My dear one has gone down to his garden, to the beds of spice plants, to shepherd among the gardens, and to pick lilies. I am my dear one's, and my dear one is mine. He is shepherding among the lilies.
You are as beautiful as Tirzah, my beloved, as lovely as Jerusalem, as breathtaking as armies around their banners. Turn your eyes away from me, for they overwhelm me. Your hair is like a flock of goats streaming down the slopes of Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of sheep that have come up from being washed, all of them bearing twins, and not one has lost her young. Like a segment of pomegranate are your cheeks behind your veil. There may be 60 queens and 80 concubines and young women without number, but only one is my dove, my flawless one, the only one of her mother. She is the favorite of the one who bore her. The daughters see her, and they pronounce her happy. Queens and concubines, and they praise her. Who is she who shines like the dawn, as beautiful as the full moon, as pure as the sunlight, as breathtaking as armies around their banners?
I went down to the garden of nut trees to see the new growth in the valley, to see whether the vine had sprouted, whether the pomegranate trees had blossomed. Before I knew it, my desire had put me at the chariots of my noble people.
Return, return, O Shulamite. Return, return, that we may look upon you.
Why do you gaze upon the Shulamite?
She is like the dance of two companies. Chapter 7. How beautiful your feet are in your sandals, O noble daughter. The curves of your thighs are like ornaments, the work of an artisan's hands. Your navel is a round bowl. May it never lack mixed wine. Your belly is a heap of wheat, encircled by lilies. Your two breasts are like two fawns, the twins of a gazelle. Your neck is like an ivory tower. Your eyes are like the pools in Heshbon by the gate of Bath-rabbim. Your nose is like the tower of Lebanon, which looks toward Damascus. Your head crowns you like Carmel, and the locks of your hair are like purple wool. The king is captivated by the flowing tresses. How beautiful you are, and how pleasant you are, O beloved girl, above all exquisite delights. Your stature is like a palm tree, and your breasts are like date clusters. I said, I will climb the palm tree to take hold of its stalks of fruit. May your breasts be like clusters of grapes, your breath as fragrant as apples, and your mouth like the best wine.
May it go down smoothly for my dear one, softly flowing over the lips of those asleep. I am my dear one's, and his desire is for me. Come, O my dear one, let us go out to the fields. Let us lodge among the henna plants. Let us rise early and go to the vineyards to see if the vine has sprouted, if the blossoms have opened, if the pomegranates are in bloom. There I will express my affection for you. The mandrakes give off their fragrance. At our doors are all sorts of choice fruits. The new as well as the old, O my dear one, I have kept in store for you.
This is the last chapter of Solomon. Then we'll figure out what other book to listen to.
Chapter 8.
If only you were like my brother, who nursed at my mother's breasts. Then if I found you outside, I would kiss you, and no one would despise me. I would lead you. I would bring you into the house of my mother, she who taught me. I would give you spiced wine to drink, the fresh juice of pomegranates. His left hand would be under my head, and his right hand would embrace me. I put you under oath, O daughters of Jerusalem. Do not try to awaken or arouse love in me until it feels inclined.
Who is this, coming up from the wilderness, leaning upon her dear one?
Under the apple tree I awakened you. There your mother was in labor with you. There she who gave birth to you was in labor. Place me as a seal upon your heart, as a seal upon your arm. For love is as strong as death is, and exclusive devotion is as unyielding as the grave. Its flames are a blazing fire, the flame of Jah. Surging waters cannot extinguish love, nor can rivers wash it away. If a man would offer all the wealth of his house for love, it would be utterly despised.
We have a little sister, and she has no breasts. What will we do for our sister on the day when she is spoken for?
If she is a wall, we will build upon her a battlement of silver. But if she is a door, we will board her up with a cedar plank.
I am a wall, and my breasts are like towers. So in his eyes, I have become as one who finds peace. Solomon had a vineyard in Baal-Hamon. He entrusted the vineyard to caretakers. Each one would bring in 1,000 pieces of silver for its fruit. I have my own vineyard at my disposal. The 1,000 pieces of silver belong to you, O Solomon, and 200 to those who care for its fruit.
O you who are dwelling in the gardens, the companions listen for your voice. Let me hear it.
Hurry, my dear one, and be swift like a gazelle or a young stag upon the mountains of spices.
So, let's see. How about Job? Oh. I need another short one. Listen to Joel.
Joel, chapter 1. The word of Jehovah that came to Joel, the son of Pethuel. Hear this, you elders, and pay attention, all you inhabitants of the land. Has anything like this happened in your days, or in the days of your forefathers? Tell about it to your sons, and let your sons tell about it to their sons, and their sons to the next generation. What was left by the devouring locust, the swarming locust has eaten. And what was left by the swarming locust, the unwinged locust has eaten. And what the unwinged locust has left, the voracious locust has eaten. Wake up, you drunkards, and weep. Wail, all you wine drinkers, because the sweet wine has been taken from your mouths. For a nation has come up into my land, mighty and without number. Its teeth are the teeth of a lion, and its jaws are those of a lion. It has devastated my vine, and turned my fig tree into a stump, stripping them completely bare, and tossing them aside, leaving their twigs white. Wail as a virgin wearing sackcloth does for the bridegroom of her youth. Grain offering and drink offering have ceased from the house of Jehovah. The priests, the ministers of Jehovah.
Hello there, Arnie. How are you?
Are in mourning. The field has been devastated. The ground mourns. For the grain has been devastated. The new wine has dried up. The oil has failed. Farmers are dismayed. Vine dressers wail because of the wheat and the barley. For the harvest of the field has perished. The vine has dried up. The fig tree has withered. The pomegranate, the palm, and the apple, all the trees of the field have dried up. for joy has turned to shame among the people. Put on sackcloth and mourn, you priests. Wail, you ministers of the altar. Come in and spend the night in sackcloth, you ministers of my God. For grain offering and drink offering have been withheld from the house of your God. Proclaim a fast. Call for a solemn assembly. Gather the elders together with all the inhabitants of the land to the house of Jehovah your God, and cry to Jehovah for help. Woe because of the day, for the day of Jehovah is near, and it will come like a destruction from the Almighty. Has not food been taken from before our very eyes, and rejoicing and joy from the house of our God? The seeds have shriveled under their shovels. Storehouses are desolate. Granaries have been torn down, for the grain has dried up. Even the livestock groan. The herds of cattle wander in confusion, for they have no pasture. And the flocks of sheep bear the punishment. To you, O Jehovah, I will call, for fire has devoured the pastures of the wilderness, and a flame has consumed all the trees of the field. Even the wild beasts long for you, because the streams of water have dried up, and fire has devoured the pastures of the wilderness. Chapter 2. Blow a horn in Zion. Shout a war cry in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Jehovah is coming. It is near. It is a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds.
She's got a
and
delay
thick
again.
gloom, like light of dawn spreading out on the mountains. There is a people numerous and mighty. Never before has there been one like it, and never again will there be another through the years of all generations. Ahead of it, a fire devours, and behind it, a flame consumes. The land ahead of it is like the Garden of Eden, but behind it is a desolate wilderness, and nothing can escape. Its appearance is like the appearance of horses, and they run like war horses. The sound is like that of chariots as they leap on the mountaintops, like the crackling of a blazing fire that consumes stubble. It is like a mighty people drawn up in battle formation. Because of them, peoples will be in anguish. Every face will grow flushed. They charge like warriors. They scale a wall like soldiers. Each keeps to his own course, and they do not swerve from their paths. They do not shove one another.
Sorry.
Each man advances in his course. If the weapons cause some to fall, the others do not break ranks. Into the city they rush. On the wall they run. Onto the houses they climb. Through the windows they enter like a thief. Before them the land trembles, and the heavens rock. Sun and moon have become dark, and the stars have lost their brightness. Jehovah will raise his voice before his army, for his camp is very numerous. For the one carrying out his word is mighty. For the day of Jehovah is great and very awe-inspiring. Who can endure it? Yet even now, declares Jehovah, return to me with all your hearts, with fasting and weeping and wailing. Rip apart your hearts and not your garments, and return to Jehovah your God. For he is compassionate and merciful, slow to anger and abundant in loyal love, and he will reconsider the calamity. Who knows whether he will turn back and reconsider and leave behind a blessing, a grain offering and a drink offering for Jehovah your God. Blow a horn in Zion, proclaim a fast, call for a solemn assembly, gather the people, sanctify the congregation, collect the old men, gather the children and nursing infants. Let the bridegroom go out from his inner chamber, and the bride from her bridal chamber. Between the porch and the altar, let the priests, the ministers of Jehovah, weep and say, do feel pity, O Jehovah, for your people. Do not make your inheritance an object of scorn, letting the nations rule over them. Why should the people say, where is their God? Then Jehovah will be zealous for his land and show compassion on his people. Jehovah will answer his people, here I am sending to you grain and new wine and oil, and you will be fully satisfied. I will no longer make you a reproach among the nations. I will drive the northerner far away from you. I will disperse him to a dry and desolate wasteland, with his vanguard toward the eastern sea and his rear guard toward the western sea. The foul smell from him will ascend. The stench from him will keep ascending, for he will do great things. Do not be afraid, O land. Be joyful and rejoice, for Jehovah will do great things. Do not be afraid, you beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness will become green, and the trees will bear fruit. The fig tree and the vine must give their full yield. You sons of Zion, be joyful and rejoice in Jehovah your God, for he will give you the autumn rain in the right amount, and he will send upon you a downpour, the autumn rain and the spring rain as before. The threshing floors will be full of pure grain, and the presses will overflow with new wine and oil. And I will make compensation to you for the years that the swarming locust, the young winged locust, the voracious locust, and the devouring locust have eaten, my great army that I sent among you. You will surely eat to satisfaction, and you will praise the name of Jehovah your God, who has done wonders in your behalf. My people will never again be put to shame. And you will have to know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am Jehovah your God. There is no other. My people will never again be put to shame. After that, I will pour out my spirit on every sort of flesh, and your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams, and your young men will see visions. And even on my male slaves and female slaves, I will pour out my spirit in those days. And I will give wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. The sun will be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the coming of the great and awe-inspiring day of Jehovah. And everyone who calls on the name of Jehovah will be saved. For on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem there will be those who escape, just as Jehovah has said, the survivors whom Jehovah calls.
Wait a minute. So, does that mean when there was a blood moon, Jehovah came and we didn't know? Or wait, I thought that's when Jesus came. Wait, what? I'm confused. Hold on. Oh. Alright, never mind. I thought it said something else. My apologies. Pay attention, Michelle.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3.
For look, in those days and in that time, when I bring back the captives of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather together all the nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. I will enter into judgment with them there, in behalf of my people and my inheritance Israel. For they scattered them among the nations, and they divided up my land among themselves. For my people they cast lots. They would trade a boy to hire a prostitute. and sell a girl for wine to drink. Also, what do you have against me, O Tyre and Sidon,
Did you
and
read
all
it?
the regions of Philistia? Are you repaying me for something? If you are repaying me, I will swiftly, speedily bring your repayment on your heads. Because you have taken my silver and gold, and you have brought my finest treasures into your temples. And the people of Judah and Jerusalem you have sold to the Greeks, in order to remove them far from their territory. Here I am rousing them to come from the place where you sold them, and I will bring your repayment on your heads. I will sell your sons and daughters into the hand of the people of Judah, and they will sell them to the men of Sheba, to a nation far away, for Jehovah himself has spoken it. Proclaim this among the nations. Prepare for war. Stir up the mighty men. Let all the soldiers draw near. Let them advance. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning shears into spears. Let the weak ones say, I am powerful. Come and help, all you surrounding nations. Assemble together. To that place, O Jehovah, bring down your powerful ones. Let the nations be roused and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there I will sit in order to judge all the surrounding nations. Thrust in a sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come down and tread, for the winepress is full. The vats overflow, for their badness is abundant. Crowds are in the valley of the decision, for the day of Jehovah is near in the valley of the decision. Sun and moon will become dark, and the stars will lose their brightness. And Jehovah will roar out of Zion. Out of Jerusalem he will raise his voice, and heaven and earth will rock. But Jehovah will be a refuge for his people, a fortress for the people of Israel. And you will have to know that I am Jehovah your God, residing in Zion, my holy mountain. Jerusalem will become a holy place, and strangers will pass through her no more. In that day, the mountains will drip with sweet wine, the hills will flow with milk, and the streams of Judah will all flow with water. Out of the house of Jehovah a spring will flow, and it will irrigate the valley of the acacia trees. But Egypt will become desolate, and Edom will be a desolate wilderness, because of the violence done to the people of Judah, in whose land they shed innocent blood. But Judah will always be inhabited, and Jerusalem to generation after generation. I will consider innocent their blood that I had not considered innocent, and Jehovah will reside in Zion.
That's it for. It's short this Sunday, but that's okay. It doesn't matter if it's short or long. It's short. So I will be on later on. It might be earlier than 3. But I'll be on later on for the regular coloring. And I believe starting next Sunday, I'm going to start from the beginning of the Bible. So every Sunday we'll read a full book. Starting at 9 a.m. on the dot. Okay? 9 a.m. starts Sunday coloring. Alright? Or Sunday arts and crafts. So you can get whatever your arts and crafts is and come and listen to the book of the Bible. And your kids too. There's no reason why they can't come. Now, I just want to let you know, I have a puppy, as everybody knows, and I do have to keep her occupied. So you'll hear me throw her toy once in a while. I told her to stop today, but I do have to keep her occupied. If she's already occupied on her own, or she's on her bed already sleeping, that's fine. Alright? And I'm going to try to get the other app to work on my Kindle because I'll show you what I mean. Okay, this is the same thing, right, as here, okay? But it's the app. And you don't hear nothing. Okay? I do not know why the volume button's not working. So maybe I can go over here. Settings. Display and sounds. Auto brightness off. Volume muted.
After some time, Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died,
Aha!
and she was left with her 2 sons.
Okay.
The men later married Moabite women.
Okay. So, how that became muted, I do not know. So we fixed it. So we'll be using this. Okay? Carol, if you can hear me now, devotion, Sunday coloring is over. Okay. So you may have a video delay. Oh. Let me tell her. You may have a delay in your video, meaning your video is still playing, but I'm done with the devotions. Because we finished reading Joel. Ivy, go play. Sorry, guys. Today she's very needy. And after this, I'm going to just spend some time with her. So, everybody, thank you for coming. I love you.